Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we're taking a look at the first of the three brand new deck build pack Justice Hunter archetypes. This is Dragon Tail. We have no idea what this is going to do. All I've seen is like the makeup so far, because I saw before the cards got translated what type of cards they were. It's very balanced, this first wave. It's 10 new cards, which is a lot. They can do so much with 10 cards, and it gets broken up in this manner. It's so balanced, it's crazy. Two low-level main deck monsters, two high-level main deck monsters, two fusion monsters. We already knew it was a fusion-based dragon archetype, two spells, and two traps. We have nothing. We have no idea of what's going on here. We do get just before we even get into that, we do get another little bonus look at artwork for the official cover of the set. Obviously, we see the same monster that was revealed for Dragon Tail in the back. We see the canine monster kind of in the middle, and then we just get a little extra tidbit because I do not believe this was the artwork that was initially revealed for the Yummy archetype. You just get a couple more of these little, candy cat guys, and just a new artwork of the big, candy cat guy above. So very curious to see that's just cool to see a new artwork there. And the only other thing I'm wondering too for the Dragon Tail archetype before we dive into the new cards is if it has synergy with Dragon Maid. I just think it may not be a coincidence that a dragon fusion new archetype is coming out right on the same timeline that Dragon Maid's got their two new cards. And it still feels like Dragon Maid could use an assisting engine. It just nothing works perfect with them. There's a couple things that like are nice but have more perfectly. That's one thing I'll say. We'll find that out very soon here as we read into these cards. So let's just get into this thing. Starting off here, we start with Dragon Tail Lucias. This is our first Dragon Tail girl. You can tell that she has the tail in the back. She's clearly like a dragon, just in her lady form. Very similar to Dragon Maids too. I don't think they're lore correlated, but like similar vibe. Anyway, Earth Spellcaster. Actually a spellcaster. She literally has a dragon tail. She's still a spellcaster here. That's interesting. Effect monster, level 8, 1800 attack, 700 defense. You can only use its first and second effects once per turn. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add a Dragon Tail monster from your deck to your hand, except Lucius. That is monster specifically. So not the spells and traps, but still good. I mean, this is Stratos, so never mad at a Stratos. That's already a good card, even if it does nothing else. Second effect, if this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion summon, you can set one Dragon Tail spell or trap from your deck. Okay, this card's really good. On summon, it's searching a monster. I would hope that one of the monsters we see out of the other three will give us an avenue to fuse, in which case on fusion, you're also getting one of your spell or traps. That's really good. This card has the potential to double search you +2 you just by itself. So that's really good, especially for fusion, with fusion and ritual archetypes specifically, just because of the way the mechanic works. You really want cards that plus you hard because inherently those mechanics can minus you. So that's a really good first card. Love it. All right, next up we have a water spellcaster. This is Dragon Tail Fymena. Fymena, yeah, I guess. Water spellcaster, interesting. Level 5, 1300 attack, 2500 defense. You can only use the first and second effects of this card once per turn. Very interesting too that this card is level 5. So this is the only normal summonable monster in the archetype so far. Fymena. First effect reads, during the main phase quick effect, you can discard this card to fusion summon one dragon or spellcaster fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material. Yo, that's super interesting for Dragon Maids too. Because some of the Dragon Maid fusions do not require specifically Dragon Maid monsters. So even this card being searched, well, we'll see, but that's cool. It is still just like a regular poly effect, but it's still a quick effect, which is cool. Yeah. It can summon any spellcaster fusion too. I wonder if one of the fusions here is spellcaster as well. We'll see. And then second effect, if this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion summon, you can set a Dragon Tail spell or trap. Wow. If they all do that, like fuse 2 into a Dragon Tail fusion, set 2 spell or traps straight from the deck, that could be crazy, crazy strong. We'll see. All right, that's another good card. Its first effect doesn't plus you, but is useful. I will say it doesn't make Lucias a one card play yet, right? Because you could search her and she can fuse, but you still have to have one other fusion material because she doesn't use herself with that fusion effect. So keep that in mind. All right, and then third card here. Dragontail Parn. I love this card's artwork, by the way. This guy's awesome. I don't really like dragons all too often in Yu-Gi-Oh, but when they're just like not that dragony dragons, that's when I like them. So the fact that this guy's kind of like a big dragon goat with 6 legs, I think he's awesome. All right, Dragontail Parn is a wind dragon effect monster, level 7, 2700 attack, 1700 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card once per turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard as fusion material for a fusion summon, you can set one Dragontail spell or trap from your deck. Then you can destroy one monster on the field. Yo, okay. So just trying to fuse with this card on the opponent's turn with our quick effect fusion effect from Fymena, or even just into a board fusing with it to then get a bonus card to keep playing and pop a card. That's pretty cool, especially since all of them trigger when they're used as fusion material. You should be able to pretty easily chain block this as well, so that way you are guaranteeing at least one search and pop into a board. That's pretty good actually for playing second. Second effect, if a face-up fusion monster you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can place this card on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, special summon one non-fusion Dragontail monster from your graveyard. That's mid. I'm not gonna lie, that's a super mid effect. It is fusion monster destroyed specifically by an opponent's card effect, so battle doesn't work, and it's destruction. It's not just, there's so many cards these days that have protection that say like if a card is removed from the field by an opponent's card, that covers so many different avenues. This card does not, though. This is mid. This is super mid effect. Kind of bummed out actually, because this card is not that good. This effect is good, but this is the kind of effect where like you might want like at least like an easy extension effect off of this card or something. But I guess the whole goal of this archetype is to just fuse like that. I don't know. That's interesting. All right, next up we also have this guy. Again, cool design. I like him. He's very like foxy here. So I love the dragons that just aren't that dragony. He's cool. This is Dragontail Ulgra. This is a fire dragon effect monster. So this is searchable off of the Dragon Rhoda, the Sangan summon or Sangan Kaiman, which is cool. So you can summon him during the battle phase as a quick effect, or you can just search him, which is easy. He's level 6, 2410. He has the Monarch stat, so you can only use the first and second effects once per turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a fusion summon, you can set one Dragontail spell or trap from your deck. Then you can destroy one spell or trap on the field. So basically the same as our guy above. A little bit worse, but like still solid. Like the fact that it gets you a +1 when it's used as material is already good. But the fact that it's also potentially removing something is just icing on the cake. Non-targeting as well. I don't know if I mentioned that with the other one above, but that's bonus. Second effect, if this card is in your graveyard, you can target a spellcaster Dragontail monster in your graveyard. Place this card on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, add that monster to your hand. Now, this is the effect I wish the other one had, or something similar. This effect is banging, right? Because you have your good starter normal summon card in Lucias that you can get back for the grind game, or Fymena is a quick effect, so being able to reload Fymena after you use her on turn 1 to be able to quick fuse on the opponent's turn to dodge things, trigger things on the opponent's turn, all that other stuff, that is really nice. And it puts itself back, so that's nice. It just rotates. That's a really good card. It's a +1 when it's used as material. It's a +2 when you also just want to get something back from grave as well. That one's better. All right, now a lot of this archetype is going to be kind of decided on how good the fusions and the spell and traps are, because the monsters, honestly, there's some good stuff there. There was one sort of starter card, and then other than that, the rest are like I guess the fusion monster, the one that fuses you is like okay, because if you just have 2 names, you're good. But still, you're basically hard fusing, so you're using 3 cards to do 1 fusion, which is dicey. So got to keep that in mind. All right. But we have Dragontail Altharion. This is the guy on the cover art, so I expect this to be kind of like our boss monster here. This is an Earth Dragon fusion, level 8, 3000 attack, 2500 defense. It takes a Dragontail monster +1 or more monsters in the hand. So the other material can be anything in the hand. That's kind of cool. That actually adds a little bit of genericness. That's actually really nice. So like a hand trap approach to the deck means that this card would be a 1.5 card starter in most hands, because you have an Ash Blossom, you have a Veiler, you have a Nib. You can just use that as the second material. So that's cool. Okay. Anyway, 2 hard ones per turn effects. The first one reads, if this card is fusion summoned, you can target monsters on the field and or in any graveyards up to the number of monsters used as material from the hand. Return them to the hand. Okay. So the more stuff you use from hand, the bigger the bounce. That's kind of like a, what's his name? Chimera, Guardian Chimera type effect. So based on how what type of materials you use, you're going to get a more impactful summon on the field here. This is only on summon, doesn't really get the engine going, but okay. Second effect, if 2 or more monsters are sent to the graveyard at the same time while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. That's nice. That's a nice little bonus effect, considering this deck is just fusion based. Like, the whole goal of the deck is, even if this card gets out at any point, the whole goal of the deck is just fuse 2 more dragons into a new boss monster. This guy should be able to come back, which is cool. Unfortunately, he doesn't do anything when he comes back, because he only triggers this on fusion summon, not on special, but you're still getting the body back, I guess, which is nice. He is 3,025, which is good. All right, next up, the other fusion. Honestly, not that impressed, though. This card's okay, but it's not great. I don't feel like the engine facilitates it as well as it should. Anyway, we have Dragontail Gramel. This is a water spellcaster fusion. Okay, so there's still a spellcaster fusion as well. Level 7, 2,800 attack, 2,300 defense, same materials, 1 Dragontail plus any other monster in the hand, 1 or more. You can only use the first effect once per turn. When you activate a Dragontail card or effect quick effect, you can target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it. Okay. And if 2 or more monsters are sent to the graveyard at the same time, while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card, banish it when it leaves the field. This card's too fair. This interruption is so mid. I guess it chains to a Dragontail, so that's like fine. You can theoretically like use this quick effect to try and fuse on the opponent's turn, chain this to pop something, then fuse this away and something else for Altharion, and then you'd be able to like use Altharion to like pop another card or 2 or bounce a card or 2. So that's cool. I don't know. It feels like this deck's missing something. I mean, maybe the spells and traps will be crazy, but we'll see. All right, we have Key2 Dragontail. This is a normal spell. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. Add 1 Dragontail monster from your deck to your hand. Then, if your opponent controls a monster, you can fusion summon a dragon or spellcaster monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material. Interesting. Not quite as strong as something like Shaddoll Fusion, or what I think regular Shaddoll Fusion is the really powerful one when you're going second. But same vibe, right? You're already going search a card from deck, but then being able to fuse immediately. And so this card would be the fusion spell and one of the materials going second, and then you just need any other card in hand, basically. That's pretty good. I mean, because then you are theoretically just going straight into Altharion to like bounce a card or 2, and put a 3K body on the field. So this card's kind of cool. It almost seems like they're pushing this deck to try and go second. It's kind of crazy, honestly. I did not expect that, but that's a pretty good card. It's a Rhoda that also has the ability to be your fusion spell. Next up, you have Rahu Dragontail, another regular spell. It is important that the regular spells are not quick plays, because you do set these for free off of all of your stuff. So that is actually a pretty important key here, that they're all activatable as soon as you set them. Normal spell, you can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. Fusion summon 1 Dragontail fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand, deck, and or field as material. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn after this card resolves, except fusion monsters. So this one just straight up is. That's really good. Oh, I see. So the restriction here, I'm getting it. I'm getting it a little bit. So this card is still quite good, but it's not quite as good as Shaddoll Fusion, because Altharion and Gramel, your Dragontail fusions, do require 1 monster in the hand. So even though you can send straight from deck, that is still good, because you're going to send one of the monsters from deck, and that monster is still going to trigger to get you another spell or trap after that anyway. but the fact that you still will have to use a monster from hand as well does hurt this card a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. But still a pretty good card. Like both these spells, I think, are both pretty decent. This card with literally any monster in hand gets you into a fusion, so that's not bad. And same thing with this card, basically. All right, traps. Hopefully these traps are pretty strong. The deck kind of needs it at this point. I'm not gonna lie. Dragon Tail Horn. This is a normal trap. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. Target an attack position monster. Return it to the hand/extra deck. Then you can place one Dragon Tail card from your graveyard or banishment on the top of the deck. Then draw one card. Ugh. Why? Why can it only target attack position monsters? Why can we not target just like any monster on the field? This card is not so broken that it like needed to be nerfed like this. This is not that powerful of an interruption. It's either a bounce or a shuffle. It's a targeting bounce or shuffle. I do like that it doesn't require you to have any Dragon Tail cards on field, just one Dragon Tail card engrave or banish. But yeah, and I like that it redraws you, right? It keeps kind of the advantage engine going a little bit. But man, the interruption itself, man, like especially if you're searching this out and setting it and your opponent knows that, they just know to summon all their important stuff in defense position. Unless they're a link based deck. So I don't know, kind of a meh effect to me. Just okay. The other one here is Dragon Tail Flame. Normal trap, you can only activate this card once per turn. Target one face-up spell on the field. Negate its effects until the end of this turn. Then you can place a Dragon Tail card from grave or banish on the deck, then draw one card. Woof. I don't know. Like, listen, the one thing we have to mention here, and this is one thing that always kind of slips through the cracks when I'm covering an archetype on first time reading it ever, is this is an archetype that has no restrictions. Not any of these cards really restricted you, except from, I think, like the spell that fuses you straight from deck. I think that one says you can't summon for the rest of the turn except fusions. So if you do not use this card, or at least, what is it? For the rest of this turn anyway. So it's, you know what I mean? You can hold this card until you do everything else you want to do. This deck has no restrictions. So it is dragon based, so Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres is still on the table. Obviously, really powerful card. Other generic dragon stuff, like I mentioned earlier, I guess our girl Lucias is the only normal summon in the deck, so you do not have to be too fearful. You know what I mean? You have other avenues you could go for more consistency, power boosts and stuff just with generic dragon stuff. I'm not sure if Dragon Maid is necessarily the pairing here. There could be some stuff, like especially since like this girl can kind of just generically fuse you into a dragon. Maybe there's some way to tie it in, but I'm not exactly sure where we're going just yet with that. But all in all, it is a cool strategy. I think it's not nearly strong enough yet. This one's like a 6 out of 10 at best for me, maybe even a 5 out of 10 right now with where it's at. The traps are so underwhelming. I was like, all right, show me some strong speller traps. The spells are solid. I think both spells are solid. Consistency slash, cards that push your engine. These cards are so underwhelming. I guess the drawing a card is nice, but like you can negate a face-up spell. I mean, I guess you can activate a spell that is resolving, so I guess that's better, but like as it's, or like, you know what I mean, in the same chain as it, but like it's still just okay, you know what I mean? It's just fine. It's such a specific type of interruption that like it can be worked around, I feel like. So all in all, I'm not that impressed, to be honest. One more thing we need to see, what's the card we're missing though? We have 11, we have 10, we have 9, we have 8, we have 7, 6, 4. Okay. So it does beg the question, we are missing either one more main deck monster or we're missing one more fusion. I would think it's a fusion. I was honestly kind of shocked to see that this is an archetype with 2 new fusions and they're both kind of end board pieces, or like a guy you're making on your opponent's turn to interrupt them and one that you're making as an end board piece. Fusion decks tend to just have like a fusion engine card where on summon it's like getting you another card while also being a material for the next card kind of thing. That's what I would guess would be the final card here. I feel like that would be a necessary piece, just because like looking at like what your deck does, if you go like normal Lucius, search Fymena fuse into something with an extra card in hand, you fuse into Gramel, you set 2, or set one, maybe two, and then you pass? Like, are you just setting the traps and then passing? I'm like, what else are you making? You're not even making anything else because you don't want to make the other guy turn one. So it's kind of interesting. Like, I'm not here to say that it's like going to be dead for sure, but that card might help a lot. And other than that, I think this deck's probably not there yet. This deck's probably closer on to the Ryuga side of things competitively than it is with the Ryziel and Malice stuff. So that's where I'm at. Let me know your thoughts down below. Am I being too hard on this deck? Do you think they have more potential than I'm giving them credit for? Let me know your thoughts down below on these. And yeah, just any of your thoughts, what they might work with, something I'm forgetting. I'd love to hear anything that I didn't cover here down below. But I'm out here for today. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, subscribe to the channel for more things Yu-Gi-Oh! News based going forward. This is cool. And honestly, this was the archetype from this deck build pack I was the least excited for. So doesn't deter me too much that it wasn't that crazy because Ryuga wasn't that good. And I'm pretty sure it was the first archetype revealed for Crossover Breakers, I think. Don't quote me on that. That might not be true. But, you know, I'm more excited for the other two anyway. So I'm not that blown up about it. But let me know your thoughts. I'm out of here. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.